All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Matty here from Chill TCG, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Grand Finals match from Chill Series number 45. This tournament was absolutely incredible. 450 players, sponsored by PTCGO Zone and Objective Deck. Both these players playing for Gold Quick Balls as well as tons of Evolving Skies packs. Now we've got Thanat. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that name. I do apologize. I'm going to call him Nat for short. But he's going to be playing Shadow Rider VMAX. He's got a couple new inclusions into the list. I believe he's got the new Articuno. But kind of a standard, sort of standard. We're going to take a look at some of the Pokemon that he's running here in the deck. Kind of a sort of standard Shadow Rider list. We do see the 1/1 Alcremie lineup, the Gengar Mimikyus. Interestingly enough, though, we have double Marshadows, but 2 Path to the Peaks and no other stadiums included into that. And he is actually running, of course, Ordinary Rod, but he also has an Energy Retrieval in the deck as well, which I do like. We're going to be able to get those energies from the discard pile directly into the hand, which does have some synergy with Shadow Rider as well as Articuno. He's playing against Luyu? The names, man, are so hard to pronounce, but our guy here is actually playing Luke Metal, and this is, again, going to be one of those standard kind of Luke Metal decks that typically does pretty well, made it all the way to Grand Finals, so this matchup should be pretty interesting. Now, overall, I do think that Shadow Rider probably has the advantage in the matchup. I think that Luke Metal is kind of a slower-paced deck, and its damage output isn't anything too spectacular, so when we're going against a Shadow Rider, we can kind of take time set up, and if our board state is set up, with Shadow Rider, we're going to be doing just incredible amounts of damage, and typically, I don't think Luke Metal can really keep up with that. But even though Shadow Rider might be a little bit favored in the matchup, it's going to be definitely a good game here. Whereas Math here, he's actually starting with his Zacian V in the active, and he's going to go ahead and Goose Mahala on his first turn going second. We see the Power Plant, Capture Energy, and I believe a Metal Goggles, which he will be attaching to that Zacian, and he also has another one in hand to grab and put onto the Luke Metal. Power Plant comes into play. We're going to capture the Luke Metal to potentially grab what would, probably be a Zamazenta or another Zacian, so it is going to be another Zacian, and I do like that play. Zamazenta definitely going to be pretty good in the matchup as well, but there are kind of a Gengar Mimikyu. We do have Gengar Mimikyu to kind of go through that. But, typically, right, one Gengar Mimikyu at least, probably isn't going to be enough to get through a Zamazenta, right? I mean, you got to be kind of fortunate. We do have Articuno in the deck. We have some Shadow Rider Vs, so going through one Zamazenta, probably not a problem, but I think overall in this matchup, you might just want to go double Zamazenta. I'm not super familiar with the Luke Metal Shadow Rider matchup these days, but we're actually going to see Nat here. He's going to go ahead and boss up this Zacian without the Metal Goggles, and then he's going to Whorehouse GX with 2 energies to draw that big hand. But the thing is here, Nat does have a second Gengar Mimikyu, right? So those are 2 attackers that can potentially go through Zamazentas. And then for that reason, I think the matchup's going to be a lot easier. Math here decides to just pass the turn, not going to Intrepid Sword, potentially increase the amount of trainer cards in his hand to do more damage with Gengar Mimikyu, so probably a smart play on that part, but now I think that, Nat here is going to set up his board. We see the 4 Shadow Rider Vs down here, probably electing not to go with the Alcremie as we are weak to Metal, but it could be really useful at the end of the game for maybe a big, one-hit KO. We're going to Marnie, though, out of that hand, which didn't really have a whole lot. We do find Shadow Rider VMAX, but unfortunately, we don't really find any more energies to get some Underworld doors going. But unfortunately, we can't Quick Ball forward to Dedenne or anything like that because, of course, Power Plant is in play. We have 3 switching outs as well as that Shadow Rider. He gets rid of the Escape Rope, and he's going to grab the Crobat. So he does have Dedenne and Crobat in the deck, and I think that a Crobat right now probably going to be your best option. He can Crobat 5 cards easily right here. I might even decide to burn that switch, but we'll see. He actually holds the Air Balloon before he plays Crobat. I think he's realizing at this point it might be worth kind of just attaching that Air Balloon to draw that extra card off the Crobat. He's going to go ahead and do that. Keeps the switch in hand. We're going to draw 5 more cards. And now we see an Energy as well as a Fog Crystal. He's going to be able to, of course, grab another Energy if he needs to. But here comes the first Underworld door to that Shadow Rider to himself. Unfortunately, no other way to find another Shadow Rider VMAX to Underworld door yet again. But I think at this point we can just... I guess we can Poltergeist. We Marnied him, which means that the damage output's going to be much lower. But there are 3 trainer cards in hand. Going to be doing 150 damage flat on the Zacian. Not going to be, I guess, getting a KO here. But I think we can definitely expect probably a full Metal Wall GX coming out this turn from Math. At least that's exactly probably what he wants to do. We'll see if it works out for him, but I think that would definitely be pretty beneficial for him at this point. The tackle comes out. We might be grabbing a Malolana here if he has the energy in hand. That definitely would be a pretty optimal play at this point. So we see the Cynthia Caitlyn and Malolana. That Metal Goggles is going to come down. So now we got 3 Metal Goggles on 3 Pokemon. And Erica's Hospitality gets played, in fact, as well. So we're not actually going to see the Malolana for the switch out here, but he's going to draw a whole lot of cards off that Erica's Hospitality. And we see the Tool Scrapper. So both of those air balloons going to get knocked off there and discarded swiftly. So the switch is in hand and the energy attached as well. So we're going to see a nice Full Metal Wall GX. The full effect comes into play, and those 2 energies are going to get taken off the Gengar and Mimikyu-GX. But I think at this point, both players kind of know exactly what they want to do. Almost playing like theme decks at this point, kind of doing their typical strategies. No additional Shadow Rider VMAX here, even with this massive hand, no Evolution Incense or anything like that. So unfortunately, we're kind of forced to maybe thin out this hand. He gets rid of that other Gengar Mimikyu at this point. We probably don't need 2 of them with all of the 2 Zacians and the Luke Metal on board. That's probably going to be our target to go through them. Another thing as well is like the Zamazenta isn't super relevant as well because we also have 2 Path to the Peaks in our deck, which of course allows Shadow Rider to hit through Zamazenta, and that can most certainly be a game-winning play late in the game. We see him actually manual attached to the V, and he's going to discard that hand with the Boss, the Alcremie V, the Dedenne, and there are the Shadow Riders as well as Energy Retrieval, which is going to be really good. We can put 2 more of those energies right back into our hand. So, so it turned out to be a really good turn, actually. Turned out to be a really phenomenal turn, I think. Doesn't involve the active, which is interesting, but I think that's probably the best play at this point. So now we can go ahead, get more energies in the hand, and keep up these Underworld doors. So I think what we want at this point is perhaps a switching out. We can Underworld door 1 more time, I believe. We can get some energies back in the hand. But it looks like we might be going with a Cloak of Shadows off that promo Shadow Rider V. Can be definitely not a bad card at all. It definitely has some advantages over the normal Shadow Rider V that came out in Chilling Reign. So I do like the 1 promo in the deck. We are going to see the Boss's Orders brings up the Shadow Rider VMAX with no energy onto it. I think at this point, we might be playing the slow game if we're math, right? We might be attaching to these Zacians. We're going to just be intrepiding sorting, whatever you would say to that. And we're just going to try to attach as many energies as we can because those Zacians are really the only way we can do substantial damage here in this matchup. But now we're in a little bit of a tricky situation. I think we can still pop Energy Retrieval because we have those 2 energies in the discard pile. And those are going to go directly to the hand. He's going to double check before he plays it. Smart move. And now we're going to get 2 free Underworld doors, plus 2 energies on board. But on top of that, we're going to be drawing 4 extra cards this turn. Already has 8 cards in deck, though, so he needs to be careful. That's the one thing with this matchup is you want to get all your energies on board without kind of moving through your deck too quickly. And that can sometimes be tricky. He's going to look through his deck again, kind of thinning out some cards, which I find to be interesting. But I think at this point, we're going to try to get all these energies on. The only thing, too, is Luke Metal resists Psychic by, I think, 30 damage. So between Full Metal Wall GX, Metal Goggles, and the Psychic resistance, I think we're doing like 80 or 90 less damage whenever we attack. So definitely going to be harder to get to that KO range. In fact, I think we might need to have all of our energies in the deck attached to our Pokemon. At this point, though, I think we're up to 10 energies, and now he's going to Marnie. Perhaps going to draw into some of those energies that are left in the deck. I think that's 1, and that'll be 11. Unfortunately, though, I don't think that's even enough to get the KO, if I'm being honest. We are going to see the Underworld door. This is very interesting. Now, I know the Ordinary Rod was still in the deck, but we do find the Air Balloon to retreat. Now we've got 11 or 12 energies on board. That is actually going to be enough, doing exactly the 260. So an absolutely insane turn from Nat here. Just literally the only thing he could ask for. He had to dig super deep for that, but Shadow Rider, it's just absolutely one of the most incredible decks. Also taking 3 prize cards, which could be shuffled back in the deck with Marnie to prevent decking out. So I think at this point, the writing's on the wall. There's not really anything for Math to do. He's got these little dog boys on his bench, which will get KO'd. Even if he brings up the Zamazenta, we have the Path to the Peak in hand, which will turn off that Dauntless Shield ability, and we're going to be able to hit through it to get the KO. And I think, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier in the game. Shadow Rider, it just has so much damage potential, especially with those 2 Path to the Peaks and the Gengar Mimikyu early game setup. I just think that it's too fast-paced. Luke Metal just doesn't have enough time to set up. And we see that second Desperation Zamazenta come down, and he's going to kind of flood some energies onto that, and he's got to end his turn with another Intrepid Sword. And typically, this wouldn't be that bad with Luke Metal, because we have Malolana, we can take some hits, but not against Shadow Rider. This deck is doing too much damage, and we just cannot keep up the pace. We see one Ordinary Rod and Path to the Peak as our last few cards in the deck there. Those definitely would be really useful for sure to not deck out, but we're going to retreat, manually discarding some energies, because we can, I guess, afford to do that, which I think is an interesting play. We might Marnie here, if I'm being honest, to grab that Ordinary Rod, but I think we're doing enough damage anyway where we can just kind of KO the Zamazenta, like I said there, with the Path to the Peak, doing a nice 250, almost exactly what we need, and there is another energy and another energy off the prize cards as well. So luckily we didn't prize too many, because with all of our energies on board we had the perfect KO on the Luke Metal. So definitely a fortunate game for Nat, but I think that Shadow Rider can kind of get these things rolling a little bit more consistently with all the time given in this Luke Metal matchup. Here comes another defensive boss into the active Shadow Rider, but unfortunately we have energies to spare and we have a boss's orders in hand if we're Nat, and I think that we have everything we need to get the KO next turn. Here comes Crystal Cave. He's going to heal some damage off that Zacian. Very good card in Luke Metal, to be honest. Just a good stadium card in general. Both these players with absolutely blinged out decks as well. Oh, I love to see that. Here comes another Intrepid Sword, and this is going to be the game right here. Unfortunately, for Math, just the pace. You just couldn't kind of keep up the pace with Shadow Rider. I think that one incredible turn where we got the KO on... where we got the KO on that Luke Metal was kind of the beginning of the end, I think, for Math. But here we go. We're going to hit through Dauntless Shield. Or actually, that's just a bug. That's not a Zacian. I don't know. PTCGO is weird sometimes. It showed Dauntless Shield even though we attacked the Zacian. But fortunately, it let him get the KO, and that's going to be his last two prize cards. Shadow Rider, Nat there with a decisive Game 1 victory. Let's head into Game number 2 and see if Luke Metal can kind of pull something else out here. Definitely interested to see. All right, getting into game number 2 here. It seems that neither player has selected who would like to go first or second. Or maybe they did last game. Maybe they did on Limitless. I'm not sure. He's going to choose to go first. I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe I missed it, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure. We're going to go ahead, and we're going to play out this match here. So it looks like Thanat, Nat here, I guess. I'm just going to call him Nat. He's got a pretty good starting hand, to be honest with you. He's got the Quick Ball, Air Balloon. He's got Energy. He's got Draw Supporter, Evolution Incense. So he can kind of get this Gengar Mimikyu set up. He can evolve into a Shadow Rider VMAX next turn. Retreat into that Gengar Mimikyu and just end his turn with a nice Professor's Research to draw 7 more. So definitely not a bad hand. We could see potentially a Marnie turn 1 from Math here, but this Zacian V in the active, and there it is. You hate to see it, but you'd love to see it, I guess, if you're Math. We'll see what Nat draws into here, though. He could just draw 4 really good cards. He doesn't really need a whole lot more. Those are not 4 really good cards, if I'm being honest. Not for Nat at all. Here comes the Lily's Pokédoll. We're going to attach the goggles to the Zacian. Power Plant comes into play. Right off that Marnie, definitely a nice play. And we're going to Intrepid Sword. Doesn't find any energies, but draws 3 more. What do we top deck if we're Nat? It's Dedenne, not the card we wanted with Path to the... Power Plant in play. And unfortunately, we can't get rid of that Power Plant with Path to the Peak, because then Dedenne-GX still won't work. So definitely a very effective Marnie here right at the beginning of the game. And this is kind of a big debate. I think a lot of people don't like Marnie. I think that it does add a lot of depth and skill to the game, but unfortunately, when you get Marnie turn 1 into a dead hand like this, Path to the Peak Marnie can just be really devastating. And if Nat doesn't draw out of this here soon, he's going to be in a predicament. You know what I mean? He's definitely going to be struggling. But definitely going to give Math a little bit more time here to set up his board state. We see the Guzma Hala come out. Here's a Crystal Cave, Capture Energy, and Metal Goggles. Hopefully he doesn't get rid of his own Power Plant this turn. That could definitely benefit Nat here. But we're going to put down the Luke Metal, put a Capture Energy onto it, and grab another Zacian. Metal Goggles is going to come onto the Luke Metal, and here comes our second consecutive Intrepid Sword. Does find the energy as well, and he's going to draw 2 additional cards. What do we draw here? Evolution Incense. I guess this is not that bad. I mean, we can draw 2 more with an Underworld Door, because Power Plant will not turn off Shadow Rider VMAX. Only GX Pokemon it does. So we're going to look through the deck here as well. Even though we just got a little bit shaken by that Marnie, we got to recollect ourselves. Unfortunately, we're going to have to get another energy onto this Gengar Mimikyu. No reason to put 3 on it, realistically, but we're going to draw 2 more. 2 cards that are also pretty useless if I'm being honest. We can attach to the active, but that's not really going to do much for us, is it? I think we probably want to wait and just hold that in hand if we have to Underworld Door again next turn. So, yeah, definitely a tough start, I think. You don't want to put that Path to the Peak in play, I don't think. Okay, well, we're doing it. Definitely interesting. For sure. So now we're definitely playing off the top deck because we do have Marshadows in deck, but now we cannot Dedenne or Underworld Door next turn to draw additional cards. Hopefully, though, that Path to the Peak will turn off an Intrepid Sword Zacian, so I guess that's perhaps what he's hoping for. But I think either way, we're probably just going to go ahead and try to Full Metal Wall GX if we're math here. And if we do, if we see Boss switch Full Metal Wall GX full effect, this game could be as good as over. If I'm being honest with you, it would be an extremely effective play. He's got a lot of cards in hand as well, so the tables have turned in game number 2. It looks like Math here getting it off to a really hot start, whereas Nat, unfortunately, just doesn't have anything that he really would like to have at this point in the match. But we'll see. We'll see how things go out. It's a long game. Against Luke Metal, you're kind of in for the long haul, so you never know. You never know what might happen. But yeah, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see, I think, for sure. Looks like the Guzma Hella will come into play here. Could be grabbing Crystal Cave, Metal Goggles, and Coding Energy yet again. So kind of filling up his hand with all of these cards, which might be useful. That third Metal Goggle is going to go down onto the second Zacian. There's the Coding Energy. Do we have the switch? No boss this turn, but even a Full Metal Wall GX would be pretty nice. However, I do think that we could probably hold off on doing that. In fact, attaching to the Luke Metal probably wasn't a super constructive play there. We might have been able to just attach to the Zacian and attack the active. Because now, again, nothing for Nat to really do. Unfortunately, if he did attach to the active last turn, he would have top decked that energy. Could have attached to the active, retreated out manually into the Gengar Mimikyu for a full Whorehouse GX. But it's hindsight's 2020, and we can't really think about what we should have done the last previous turns. But here comes a Cynthia Caitlyn. Now I think this turn, if we don't have a boss switch, is going to hopefully to be just attached to the Zacian and get some damage off on the Shadow Rider VMAX, which would be extremely good for sure, right? If we could go through a VMAX early game like this, get some good damage on, would be certainly beneficial. We're still not one-hit KOing the Gengar Mimikyu. We're 1 damage away with the Zacian. But we see the switch, so we're going to switch into Doll, and he actually doesn't Intrepid Sword. So lots of... Oh, we can't because it's Path to the Peak. But, yeah, either way, such an interesting situation. So now what we can do is go with the Whorehouse GX to draw some cards here. We're going to draw 5 more. Also kind of buy ourselves a turn. But let's see. If this Whorehouse GX puts him back on track, right, he could draw into some good stuff here. He draws into a Research as well as an Energy. The thing is, if we're probably going to have to research this hand away for the most part, which would be pretty tough. He actually pops the Lily's Pokédoll, so we can switch out without the item. Super, super good, and now he's going to get the Full Metal Wall GX. So a very smart play for Math, right? Very smart play for Math going into that Lily's Pokédoll because he knows he's going to be able to switch out without playing any cards from his hand. So incredibly good to get all of the energies off of Nat's board here. That's 5 in the discard pile at this point. And unfortunately, we're kind of forced to just attach and pass. We can't research because we need probably that energy retrieval. And really right now we need like a Fog Crystal, some way to grab a Marshadow, get rid of this Path to the Peak, which we kind of put ourselves in this situation, realistically. And once we find that, we can kind of try to get more energies on the board. Shadow Rider is very explosive, so we could just see an incredible turn or two in the next coming turns from Nat, but a lot of things have to happen, and he has to draw the right cards off the top deck, whereas Math here, he's just going to Steel Fist the Gengar Mimikyu. Does 50 damage, not a lot, but does set up the KO with that Zacian on the bench, and he's going to be able to attach another energy to the Luke Metal. So 7 energies on board for Luke Metal on like turn 5 or 6, I think, whereas Nat literally has 1 going into this turn. So he's going to attach manually to the Shadow Rider. I think at this point he might be thinking, like, do I actually have to research away this hand? It would not be super great. We're going to need that Path to the Peak to go through Zamazenta. But you know what? I think he's forced to at this point. And does find the Fog Crystal and a bunch of energies as well as another VMAX. So here comes the Marshadow. Going to be able to get rid of Path to the Peak. So kind of rough having to discard that last hand. And it might be kind of too little too late. But we'll definitely see. Oh, has 3 energies in hand and 3 left in the deck. 2 on board. So definitely going to be a struggle. For sure. The only ways to get those energies back was that energy retrieval as well as 1 ordinary rod, which he has. So I don't know if he can actually get up enough damage here to 1-hit KO the Luke Metal. But a couple Underworld Thorns here, we might put ourselves in a position to get some damage off on the Luke Metal. Yeah, I mean, it's awkward. You know, yeah, this is a tough situation, I think. I guess we could quick ball away the Articuno, fail the Pokemon search. We could play Articuno, attach those energies, and then hope for a switch out. That might be our best option, if I'm being honest. All right, get rid of the Alcremie here. Gonna grab another Shadow Rider V. I think failing this quick ball is probably the smart play here. And I think, yeah, he's gonna go ahead and play the Articuno. I think you do. I think you play the Articuno and get both energies on, just to get him on board so that we can Crobat. And it looks like that's what he's going to do. Now, this Articuno has great synergy, realistically, with Alcremie to get that plus 120 damage off like that. But we do see the switch out here and another VMAX, but no additional energy. But let's quick ball away the Evolution Incense. We're not going to need it. We'll grab a Marshadow to put it into our hand, I suppose. But it's not really going to do anything for the rest of the game. Any power plants? Well, it could get rid of a Crystal Cave, which I think would be pretty relevant. So only 14 cards in deck, and I don't think we're doing a whole lot of damage here. Might not even be a 2-hit KO, but let's see how much this is doing. It's doing 110, so no, not even a 2-hit KO on this Luke Metal. 5 energies in the discard pile, energy retrieval as well in both Path to the Peak. So Nat definitely not in a great situation in Game 2 here, and I think that a Malolon, yeah, this Malolon is massive. And this is why you kind of want to get like 1-hit KO range, right, with Shadow Rider, because we have Malolonus. You know, you can't kind of do chip damage to any of these Pokemon. They're going to get healed up all the way. Here comes a Brave Blade on a big old Zhehong V here with Metal Goggles in place. So taking 60 less damage from the Shadow Rider as well. Here's the energy, though, off the top deck. Unfortunately, though, I don't think we're even going to be able to... we might, though. I guess if we Rod and find a way to draw into them. But 13 cards in deck. Just not looking too great, I think. We're going to hopefully try to find a way to get out here of the active as well. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, I suppose that Nat has a chance to win this game. You know, draws 2 more draw supporters there off the Underworld door. We're probably going to have to Marnie. I don't know. I don't know if he even has the resources in the deck to kind of finish up this matchup, especially with some Malolanas and stuff. That might still be in Math's deck. Yeah, I think he might be decking out before that even comes to happen here. Unfortunately, no Ordinary Rod, and I don't know if he has another energy in deck. He might check here with the Fog Crystal, but, you know, yeah, it's not looking good. This Luke Metal as well is going to be able to finish off the KO on the Shadow Rider VMAX, and that's going to be -3 energies. If anything gets KO'd at this point, we're kind of in a really bad spot. You know, we can't really do anything because then we don't have the energies like to finish off the game. You know what I'm saying? So definitely a really tough spot. Also, 1 boss's orders away to knocking out that Gengar Mimikyu for 3 prize cards after we go through one of these Shadow Rider VMAXs. So we're going to Underworld Door. And I think we're just hoping to draw into like a switch. Okay, so there's the Air Balloon. No Ordinary Rod, unfortunately. But this is going to be good for us. We're going to force the boss's orders, I think, from Math. And still not getting the KO on the Zhehong, though, however. But still doing, I guess, enough damage to where... we're putting on some pressure. 190, and this is kind of where that Full Metal Wall and the Metal Goggles really come in clutch here. 1 energy away, actually, from actually getting the KO. Here comes the Lily's Pokédoll. If he has the switch out, he's actually just going to retreat into the Luke Metal, and there's the boss's order. It's going to finish off the KO on the Shadow Rider VMAX, and this right here is, in fact, I believe, the game. I don't know what else we can really do, unless we top deck Ordinary Rod. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Math literally 1 boss's orders away from winning this game, whereas Nat is very far away from winning with only 2 cards in deck. No Ordinary Rod off the top deck, but we do have a Fog Crystal, I suppose. But I don't think we have any energies under deck. 8 energies in the discard pile. Yeah, I think, you know, I don't want to talk too soon, but yeah, 4 supporters and Ordinary Rod left in the deck. I don't think we have what we need. I think at this point, literally, I guess we can take the KO on the Zhehong. Might draw into some useful prize cards. That could be something. But, you know, I think we're hoping that Math prized all of his boss's orders, I guess. Or he just doesn't see them for the rest of the game. But double Fog Crystal, not going to help him in this scenario. And if we don't top deck, I believe, either a Marnie or an Ordinary Rod, there's nothing that we can do. But we're going to see the Bird Keeper come out. Might go back into the Luke Metal. Going to draw 3 cards. Very good card to play, actually, on this turn. We're going to be able to attach that Zhehong and do 150 to the Shadow Rider, pretty much effectively checkmating for next turn. And here comes the Metal Saucer as well. Going to set up a Zamazenta just for that extra security, I suppose. Because why not? Making game-winning plays here. Math is. And he's going to do the 150 to the Shadow Rider VMAX in the active. And like I said, there's the boss's orders. Yeah, so like I said, there's just nothing else. Nothing else. Like, no Marnie or Ordinary right off the top deck, and I don't think that we can really do anything else here. He's going to say, I'll go first next game. We're going to move into game number 3, everybody. Luke Metal pulling out a very surprising victory. Nat there. Definitely some unfortunate draws, but game 3 of Chill Series Grand Finals, number 45. Super excited. Let's get into game number 3. Let's see who can come out on top. Really, at this point, I think it could go either way. All right, everybody. Game number 3. We have Nat playing Shadow Rider Math Louie playing Luke Metal Zacian. Now, Nat definitely has everything in the deck that he needs to win the game. Unfortunately, if he's martied into a bad hand and then he's forced to research and discard all those cards that he needs to win the game, not going to be a good time for him at all. This hand is a little bit awkward, but I think with the quick ball, we'll see what we draw here off the top deck. It's a Marnie, so we can go ahead and kind of make our board state, kind of set everything up here, and feel pretty good about next turn. No energy, though, so I think we're definitely going to just be grabbing a Shadow Rider V, if I'm being honest. Getting no energy on board is tough, but we can evolve into the VMAX next turn, set up a Gengar Mimikyu in one turn as well. And I think, honestly, we might just switch into the V here and attach the air balloon. That's maybe what I would do. He's just going to pass. I think that's also probably smart. But you don't really want to attach air balloon to the Marshadow because, you're going to be discarding it anyway. So you probably just want to burn a switch on that. There comes the power plant. Metal goggles on the Zamazenta. I think Math has to get Luke Metal and Zacian set up. He's got to get his Intrepid Swords going. And there comes the turn 1 Marnie and Power Plant again. Just like game number 1 or game 2. Man, this could be devastating. We saw it before. The quick ball. Okay, he does draw into the Marnie. That was super close. And Evolution Incense. Okay, he's fine. Pretty much the same hand as last turn. But we saw last game, in game 2, how the Marnie turn 1 with Power Plant combo can be literally a game-winning play right off the bat. Absolutely incredible. So I think here, I think we're forced to quick ball away perhaps that energy, or we could quick ball away the Marnie for a Crobat and hope we draw into a draw supporter. That is going to be his play, probably the best play if I'm being honest. Crobat, of course, you can play on Power Plant. It's not a GX Pokemon. We're going to draw 6 more. He doesn't attach the energy yet and draws into not a great hand, unfortunately, but we can't Underworld Door draw 2 more. Do we find a way to find the Gengar Mimikyu? We don't, but of course, we're not in a terrible position still, we can Underworld Door a couple more times. I think we hold that energy, to be honest, so we can Underworld Door twice next turn. That's what I would do. Personally. And he's going to grab the Shadow Rider VMAX before, which is interesting, but, I think probably not a bad play. Will he attach the energy? This could be the difference between drawing 2 cards and the top deck, but the difference between 2 and 4 card draw next turn. He's going to retreat into the Shadow Rider V, and we're actually going to see the Shadow miss, so I like this play. We're going to eliminate the possibility of attaching any special energies next turn, and I think that this was kind of the smart play, although I would have switched in and not attached the Air Balloon to Marshadow just because it's a card that we're going to be discarding, so I don't know if that was I don't know if that really mattered. Here comes the Cynthia Caitlyn, though. We're going to Cynthia Caitlyn away a Metal Energy to grab a Marnie, and we're going to draw 3 more cards. So kind of a big hand here. Well, let's attach a second energy to the Zamazenta. If we don't see another Pokemon come down, this could be actually the game. Here's the Tool Scrapper anyway. So yeah, if no other Pokemon comes down, right, and we do get into a Gengar Mimikyu next turn, then this could be a very early game. And we see the Fog Crystal and Switches in hand as well. So this could be a very, very interesting play. I think we have to grab Gengar Mimikyu here and hope that we draw into another energy so that we can get the full effect. But let's see. No other energy, unfortunately, so we're going to have to Whorehouse GX just with 1 energy on and not draw those extra cards, I think. But actually, the thing is, do we go for that kind of donk scenario? Is it even possible, or do we potentially just wait on that Gengar Mimikyu till we have the 2 energies? That's kind of the big question. It looks like he's going to wait, and we are going to see another Shadow Mist, and just hopefully hoping that, we know that he has Marnie in hand at this point. If we were to draw an energy off of that Underworld Door, we could have attached a second with the Gengar Mimikyu switched in and been in a really interesting position to potentially get the KO here early on for the game. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Tag Call comes out for Math. I don't know what he's going to be grabbing with the Tag Call. Probably Luke Metal and probably, I don't know. I didn't see what else he grabbed. I'll be honest with you. I was looking away. My bad. Okay, we're going to just see the Intrepid Sword. So it doesn't actually attach to the active Zamazenta. Doesn't have the basic energy, it seems. But the hand after the Marnie is actually quite good. We are going to see that other energy. So a Horror House GX going to be able to come out. And definitely going to be a really, really good play at this point. We're going to Underworld Door that second energy on the Gengar Mimikyu. Draw a couple more cards. We see another Fog Crystal in a boss's orders, things like that. But overall, nothing too incredible. I think we can attach to that air balloon, probably Fog Crystal for maybe another basic Shadow Rider V and then research away the hand. We might probably just grab the energy here and then Quick Ball for the V, probably the better play. But either way, I think we're going to end the turn on the research and then go ahead and Horror House GX for that full effect. And I think that's definitely going to be a good turn, if I'm being honest. He's going to attach the air balloon to the Gengar Mimikyu. Probably a smart play. We are going to see the boss, actually. Which I do like into the Luke Metal. We're going to try to KO this Luke Metal before it can GX, and I do think that's actually quite a good play. He's actually going to bench the Alcremie, so we could see a Alcremie VMAX KO next turn. That would actually be super, super cool. Unfortunately, though, draws into another hand of a little bit of awkward stuff. A little bit awkward, and we're going to see the pass. Okay, here comes the Fog Crystal for the energy. So I think the cards that we draw off of this Underworld Door here going to be extremely, extremely important. However, I think if we attach to this Alcremie, we're definitely setting ourselves up for a KO. Okay. It's okay. So here's the thing, right? We could just attack with Gengar Mimikyu. And feel kind of okay about doing that. We could boss up the Zamazenta and try to KO that. Kind of a far stretch, if I'm being honest. Or we could just switch into the Shadow Rider to do kind of a consistent amount of damage. And he is actually going to go ahead and choose to do that play. You know, Nat this turn has been so close to getting some really incredible plays, just kind of not drawing exactly what he needs to. But I think we can bring up the Zacian here and KO it. And I think that this is totally a fine play, taking 2 early prize cards. It says Dauntless Shield again, but that's not a Zamazenta, that's a Zacian. PTCGO is just a very strange and mysterious game here. Marty and Research off of the prize cards. Yeah, unfortunately, we want another Shadow Rider VMAX. We want Alcremie VMAX. We really want to hope that we don't see a full effect Full Metal Wall GX this turn. Probably extremely unlikely, though, for that to happen. And if it doesn't, then I think we're actually in a really good spot, right? If no energies get discarded this turn, then we're kind of chilling. I guess we're just going to look at Nat's discard pile for a bit. Okay, so the capture energy comes down onto the Luke Metal, and we are going to see the Marnie. Probably not that bad for Nat. A lot of cards that particularly aren't super useful to him at the moment. And let's see what these 4 cards are that he draws. A lot of draw supporters, though, in hand, so it could be tough. But we do see Evolution Incense, and we see the Shadow Rider VMAX. No other energy, though, so no way to really draw additional cards. But depending on what we top deck, we could... okay, so let's see. Oh, it's another VMAX. So, yeah, we're just going to have to hit the Luke Metal, I think, here. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. You know, definitely kind of a good Marnie. I mean, these Marnies have been really solid, I think, this game. In the last couple games for Math. So I think we have to literally just attack the active and take the old Full Metal Wall GX to the face next turn and get those 2 energies discarded. We are going to grab another Shadow Rider VMAX, which is weird. We're just going to grab it, I think, to thin it out of the deck. And Dauntless Shield on the Luke Metal. LOL. 200 damage, though. Not that bad. The Gengar Mimikyu potentially could set up a nice little KO next turn on the Luke Metal. A little bit unlikely, I think, especially if we don't have a way to switch out of the active and these 3 energies about to get discarded with the Full Metal Wall GX. But, okay, so the Malolana comes out into the Lily's Pokédoll, most likely. This could end in a Full Metal Wall GX if we see the energy. But if not, then it might just end with the old Intrepid Sword. But yeah, it looks like he's going to go back into Luke Metal because he has the energy. There it is. And now we can see the Full Metal Wall GX. So a very good play from Math here. Very good play, getting rid of 3 energies with the Full Metal Wall. Definitely not bad. We do see the Escape Rope, though. Unfortunately, probably not exactly what we need, though. And it looks like we are going to go ahead and see the Ordinary Rod. Just going to grab those 2 energies, put them back into the deck. No Pokemon to shuffle back in. However, so we're going to pass. You know, we're going to pass because we're not really in jeopardy of taking a lot of damage this turn. It's either going to be 50 from the Luke Metal or 130 from the Zamazenta. But either way, I think we're kind of okay to just kind of wait, I think. We're going to Cynthia Caitlin that Malolana back into the deck, into the hand, rather, and I think that's a good play. And he is going to switch into the Zamazenta to do this nice 130. We also should be safe, I think, from you know, Math should be safe from getting KO'd at least. Probably. The energy off the top deck, there it is. We're going to be able to draw some extra cards here. And now we're going to be moving, right? So let's see what we draw into. Research and another energy. Okay, so these are very good cards now that we're drawing. This is exactly what we want. We see the Alcremie VMAX as well, which is crazy. But first of all, we're going to Escape Rope. And if he brings up that Zamazenta or the Luke Metal, we could make a KO play this turn. He's going to bring up the Gengar Mimikyu. It's fine. It's got Air Balloon onto it. And now I think we're going to research this hand. Probably not very needed, the rest of these cards for the rest of the game. So now I think if we have energy... Okay. So we can KO with Alcremie. Or no, we can't, actually, because Dauntless Shield. But we can grab the Dedenne-GX. We can Marshadow away. So it looks like we're going to be digging even farther. Not bad. 3 energies in deck, 2 in hand. We do have Energy Retrieval as well still. But I think we're going to try to KO the Zamazenta potentially with the Alcremie this turn. Might be a really good play. Can we actually KO with the Shadow Rider is the question. He attaches the 4th energy to the Shadow Rider, which is interesting. And we actually see the Poltergeist come out. Unfortunately, only doing 120 damage. So it looks like 3 of those cards in hand were trainer cards. But I think that early damage there with the Gengar Mimikyu is fine. We're also safe. You know what I mean? There's no Zacian on board. We can take a hit. We're kind of guaranteed to be able to take a hit. And then next turn, we can dig a little bit farther, right? And kind of go from there. But I think the play is going to be to knock out the Zamazenta, and then we have an Alcremie play to go through that Luke Metal or the other Zamazenta. But the Malolada comes out again, going to heal all that damage, and he's going to go into the Zamazenta with the energies, doing 130 to the Gengar Mimikyu, setting up the 2-hit KO here. But we do have Research and Dedenne in hand, and now we can Underworld Door as well. Only 8 cards in deck, so we got to be careful for sure. He's going to thin a little bit more, but I think he needs all of the energies that are left in his deck. And then he can probably Marnie for the turn. There's the other energy, so we're going to draw 4 more cards. A Marnie here would be extremely good. And Path to the Peak is actually what we needed here. So we are going to be able to take the KO on this active Zamazenta. Incredibly good. Like super, super good. And then we will have, of course, the Alcremie. What is he? So he doesn't want to attach to the Alcremie because it could get knocked out by the... actually, I don't know. I don't know why not attach to Alcremie there. But I guess we have energy in the discard pile we're hoping to grab, or energy retrieval, same thing. So now we win next turn, right? We win next turn if we are Nat. We are in a very good spot. And I don't think with only 1 card in hand here, we're attaching to the Zamazenta. I think the writing is on the table here. I think that we kind of backed him into a corner. And I think that Nat really just, you know, kind of got fortunate, at least, off the couple of the top decks there. Didn't get kind of put into a too-bad situation. The Marnies were pretty solid game 3 here, but they weren't good enough. And that Marnie, they're not going to do anything. I mean, there's nothing that Math can really do. And unfortunately for him, that is going to be the victory right there with the concession. So congrats to Thanat for going ahead and winning Chill Series number 45. Going to get that gold quick ball. Going to get 80 chilling, or not chilling rain, Evolving Skies packs. Definitely an incredible game. The matchup is really fun to watch. It really is. I had a really good time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Maddie from Chilled TCG. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Also register for Chill Series tournaments every Wednesday. You guys have a great night. We'll see you guys soon for more videos. And yeah, have a good one.